Welcome to our Wandering Walks of Wonder history walking tour in downtown Burlington, Iowa. Nestled along the rolling waters of the Mississippi River, the city of Burlington, Iowa stands as a timeless reflection of America's frontier spirit. Founded in 1833, Burlington began as a small trading post on the edge of the wilderness. But it didn't stay small for long. Its location along the Great River made it a gateway to opportunity, drawing settlers, merchants, and dreamers from every direction. For a brief time in history, Burlington even held the honor of being the first capital of the Iowa Territory, a place where new laws and new lives were built side by side. The arrival of the railroad soon transformed the city into a thriving hub of commerce, where steamboats once docked and locomotives roared through the bluffs, carrying the pulse of a growing nation. Today, the echoes of that golden era still linger in downtown Burlington, in its elegant brick facades, its winding hills, and its enduring landmarks. Join me as we journey through the heart of the Mississippi River gem, walking the same streets where history was made and uncovering the stories that make downtown Burlington, Iowa, a place where the past and present meet in perfect harmony. Here along the riverfront of the mighty Mississippi River stands the Burlington Memorial Auditorium, a monument to ambition, to resilience, and to community. Its stone and brick tell a story of changing times, of a city that dared to build, to entertain, and to remember. In the waning years of the 1930s, the nation was seeking not just jobs, but identity, a sense of place amid economic storm. In Burlington, Iowa, that expression took form in this auditorium. It was built by the Works Progress Administration and opened in May of 1939. It was originally used as a U.S. Naval Reserve Training Center and by the supply company of the 136th Medical Regiment of the Iowa National Guard. Kind of imagine those days, the hum of drummers on parade, the orderly march of uniforms echoing inside its halls. Granite and steel, purpose-built for national defense, yes, and, though, for something much larger, for the civic life of Burlington. The building is more than just a venue, it's a beacon. Its facade, which is bold and purposeful, speaks of a time when architecture declared a city's hopes. Inside a vast auditorium, a stage that has heard the roar of rodeo crowds, the hush of a concert, and the laughter of a comedy night. Over the decades, the Burlington Memorial Auditorium has morphed from that military training center to become a cultural engine here in Burlington. Today, it is managed by the Burlington Riverfront Entertainment nonprofit, which oversees the riverfront property and ensures that the auditorium remains alive with events. We're now heading into the historic commercial downtown district of Burlington. And as we step here onto Jefferson Street, our eyes are drawn to this stately four-story brick building. It was once the home of the German-American Savings Bank. This building stands as a testament to ambition, community roots, and many architectural layers. The building itself was constructed in 1885. In the heart of the 19th century Burlington, Burlington was a bustling city in and of itself. Its commerce tied to river traffic, rail lines, and immigrant enterprise. The German-American Savings Bank was incorporated in 1874 to serve a local and German-speaking population that was very large here in Burlington. The building itself went through a major remodel in 1913 and also again in 1958. Although the bank itself is no longer in place, the building still stands as a testament to the immigrants and commercial ties here in Burlington. The large building that we see on our left, which is the Farmers and Merchants Bank and Trust Building, originally opened in 1912 as the Iowa State Savings Bank. At the time, it was acclaimed as Burlington's tallest commercial building. Its presence was a statement, a city mature enough to erect monuments of commerce, a place where river trade, rail shipments, and local enterprise met beneath this one tall building. That building became an emblem of early 20th century optimism, heavy masonry, very strong structure to the building that says, "We are here to stay." But the arc of fortune is rarely straight. The Iowa State Savings Bank, like many financial houses of the era, did not survive the shocks of the early 1930s. By 1932, the bank had closed, a casualty of the Depression that remade so many American downtowns. The great banking rooms, once bright with business, fell silent or found new lives as other businesses moved in. Actually, today, that bank building still exists and is part of the Farmers Bank and Trust Building. There are moments that many cities remember, and one of those is when the marquee sputters, then blazes, and the old neon letters spell a name that once meant nightly escape. Here we are in front of the Capitol Theater. Built in 1937, an Art Deco jewel here on Burlington's 3rd Street, the Capitol opened as a modern picture palace. Terracotta and structural glass framing a bold vertical tower that rose like a beacon above the sidewalks. Imagine back in July of 1937, velvet ropes, ticket stubs, and the hush before the reels unspools. The Capitol's first film was The Prince and the Pauper, an opening that announced Burlington's place on the map of mid-century American entertainment. For decades, it served as both movie house and performance auditorium, hosting film, music, and community events beneath an interior of colored acoustic panels and ornate lighting. And then, like so many single-screen houses, time had a way of turning what was going on at the theater. By March of 1977, the Capitol closed its doors. The final film shown was Carrie, and the marquee on the outside went dark. For years, the theater sat quiet, a sleepy Art Deco giant watching Jefferson Street change around it. Its silence became part of the city's memory, a promise the stories paused. But the story took a brighter turn in the 21st century. A nonprofit group, the Capitol Theater Foundation, purchased the building and set about restoring the marquee in 2005, the first visible breath of revival. With grants, historic tax credits, and local fundraising, a rehabilitation plan brought back the Capitol to life, with restoration of the facade details, exposure of the original marble lobby floors, and replication of the original entrance doors, including new seating and a much larger and modern space. Across the street from the Capitol Theater stands a building that once opened its doors to a bustling river city at the dawn of the 20th century. Built in 1911, the Hotel Burlington was commissioned by the city's businessmen who were determined that Burlington would not simply be a waypoint, but a destination. They raised the funds and hired architects and built what became one of the tallest, most modern hotels in Iowa at the time. The exterior speaks of this Renaissance revival elegance. The first 7 stories of the original structure are clad in brick and stone with a really strong base of stone on the ground floor. In 1923, an east wing was added to complete what is now a U-shaped building. Then in 1931, 2 more floors were added, bringing the building to 9 stories, a skyline defining silhouette for Burlington. But by the mid 20th century, patterns began to shift. Auto travel, suburbs, changing hospitality norms were all chipped away. The hotel's original era waned, and it went into receivership in 1980, the last guest leaving a building heavy with memories. But the story doesn't end there. The building was rehabilitated and has now been converted into apartments and is known as the Burlington Apartments. The McConnell Lofts building that we've been walking by on our right here began back way in the early 20th century when SR and IC McDonald Company, a business dealing in leather, saddlery, hardware, horse clothing, whips, and shoe findings, constructed this building as a commercial site and warehouse. Here at 401 Jefferson Street, we're looking at the building that's historically known as the Hedge Block. This building rises out of Burlington's bustling late 19th century commercial core. Built in 1880, this finely crafted Victorian Gothic block was designed by architect Charles A. Dunham. As the city of Burlington grew with river traffic, railroads, and commerce, the hedge block became more than just a building. It became a node of civic life. On its upper floors lived institutions of learning. In fact, in the late 1880s, the second and third floors of the corner bay of the building housed Elliott's Business College, also known as Orchard City Business College, which offered courses in bookkeeping, commercial practices, and business skills. The street level housed a variety of different stores over the years, including dress shops, men's clothing, furniture stores, and many different other types of stores. It's a beautiful building here along Jefferson Street in the downtown historic area of Burlington. Here along Jefferson Street stands a building that has worn many hats: a department store, a theater, a community hub, each era leaving its imprint on the brick and windows of this building. The building itself was constructed around 1893, and from that year to 1934, it housed the John, I'm going to probably say this wrong, Boyce department store. Afterwards, it became the Zephyr Theater, catering to entertainment and screen movies, and it's also moved on to become an event space and used as services for First United Methodist Church of Burlington. Next door, we find a building whose facade quietly reveals more than meets the eye. This building was originally known as the Masonic Temple or Gregg Building, and it was built in 1884. Today, it houses the long-established Munt Piano and Organ Company, a family-run musical instrument business that has been in business for over a century. In the early 1880s, Burlington was growing, with commerce, railroads, and river trade converging in this area. The Masonic Temple here on Jefferson Avenue was more than just a storefront block. It was a statement of permanence, dignity, and local success. For the Masons, the halls above offered meeting space, and for commerce, the ground floor invited many different types of businesses over the years. In the spring of 1838, a small group of settlers in Burlington gathered under the banner of hope and community. They formed the congregation that would become First Congregational Church. Between 1867 and 1870, the congregation erected this present church building that we see today. But behind these elegant walls, the church played a role as a moral compass as well. Under the steady leadership of William Salter, who served as pastor from 1846 until 1910, the congregation became a champion of abolition, civil rights, public education, and the free library movement. In the early decades of the 20th century, Burlington was grappling with its identity. A riverfront town, a rail junction, an industrial participant, yet also a place seeking civic solidity. The decision to build a new city hall was part of that identity-shaping movement. The choice of a Beaux Arts structure signals that the city was making a statement. We are orderly, we are enduring, and we are a respected municipality. Construction of the City Hall building began in 1923, and the resulting edifice replaced earlier, more modest administrative buildings, giving Burlington a building that matched its aspirations. Since its opening, this building has been the functional heart of Burlington city government, from city council meetings and public hearings to the issuance of permits and protections of public rights. The offices of the city clerk, finance, inspections, and community development all reside here. Over time, as Burlington has changed from manufacturing, river trade, and many changes in the downtown dynamics, the building has remained a fixed point. In front of us, we see First United Methodist Church, which rises as a monument not only because of its architecture, but because of community endurance and transformation. The building itself was first constructed in 1889, and additions were made around 1904. From its earliest days, the congregation of the Methodist tradition served Burlington with worship service and a presence here in the heart of the city's downtown district, close to the river and close to the people. But in April of 2007, the church suffered a devastating arson fire that heavily damaged the interior of the building. While the walls of the building stood firm, the interior was gutted and the congregation was displaced. But the church went through with a very massive restoration and renewal process that took over 5 years to complete. Today, the building is more than just a church, it's a hub. Worship services, community events, there's a banquet hall, offices, a fair trade store, and many more inside the building of Methodist Church. The story of First Presbyterian Church begins in the early 1830s, a time when the Mississippi's current brought frontier faith, settlers, and the call of something grander than the wild prairie. The congregation that would become First Presbyterian Church organized its roots in 1832 in Burlington's earliest days. If you fast forward to January of 1888, the building that we see today was dedicated. That dedication marked the realization of decades of community, faith, and ambition that endures to this day. Here on North Fifth Street, the Zion United Church of Christ stands as a testament to continuity and change, one of Burlington's historic faith communities. The congregation at this address grew from earlier German-speaking roots. According to historic records, the Zion Church in Burlington was founded around 1864. Originally, this congregation served a German-speaking community here in Burlington. The historical register shows baptisms, confirmations, weddings, and deaths established in German and English beginning way back in 1864. Standing here along 4th Street, we're not simply seeing a structure, we're witnessing a chapter of Burlington's civic and cultural story. The building that we see in front of us was originally constructed in 1898 to house the first dedicated public library for the city of Burlington. The library's caretaking of knowledge, of public gathering, and civic dignity was embodied in the architecture of its building. The building rises with a purpose, with windows high and regular, the masonry sturdy and dignified, which invites residents into its halls for reading and reflection. For decades, books were borrowed and returned here, children studied, minds were expanded. Then in 2006, the Burlington Public Library relocated to a new modern facility, and this building was transformed into the Des Moines County Historical Society Heritage Center Museum, where the past is preserved, exhibited, and interpreted, and a great way to learn a little bit more about Burlington that you've not been able to learn on this walking tour. I hope you've enjoyed this walking tour. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we will see you on our next Wandering Walks of Wonder tour. Take care now. Bye-bye.